3, 2, 1.
What's up everyone, Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, August 10th, 2018. In this video, we're going to talk about Litecoin. I know we have a ton of Litecoin subscribers on this channel, and we're going to look at what Litecoin is doing, how are we at like a $60 Litecoin right now. And to start things off, I want to visit a clip from a video I did, I think June 21st, where we were talking about a $50 Litecoin. Let's check this out real quick. Okay, so what if Litecoin goes down to like $50?
Okay, this is probably the best advice, but I will probably buy a lot. And since I'm gonna open my new wallet tonight or tomorrow, so I get so excited, I guess.
So this is, that's definitely not financial advice. So not financial advice, obviously, but Sarah was ready to buy, and we're not even at $50 right now, but that just gives you a taste of why to anticipate the downside, right? And that wasn't the only time we talked about a $50 Litecoin. So with that being said, what can we anticipate beyond even $50? Well, in the general scheme of life, it's always good to anticipate the worst possible thing happening when getting into any position. So this will probably be the only bearish point of my video, which is to say, what if cryptocurrency as a whole was completely demolished and completely gone? What would your position look like? How would it affect your life? And you got to keep that in mind when making a decision. This is a risky game here, but it can pay off extremely well in the long run. So we're going to look at this in the long run, right? So let's jump in and talk about Bitcoin first. It's just real quick, lay the foundation and the general picture of the markets as a whole, because Bitcoin, as we know, is king. Bitcoin is the foundation of the market right now. And so we have the weekly chart going back to 2013, and you see this progression. You see these swings up, you see these swing up patterns, and then these pullbacks of consolidation. Swing up pattern, pullback of consolidation. And this is going to continue. This continues on smaller time frames, and it most surely continues on longer time frames. So let's look at from July 2013 to all-time highs, Bitcoin, almost 30,000% gains from a 4-year time perspective. 30,000% gains. So you can only imagine people that were buying Bitcoin back in 2013, how well they have done since then. Now, that is an uptrend, right? And I want to point out on this uptrend, the harmony that you see on your screen zoomed out. Obviously this is a logarithmic screen, so it paints the picture more smoothly, but it paints the picture nonetheless. So if we take Bitcoin and we look at that on a zoomed out chart and its trend and what it's doing, and currently obviously in consolidation, and this consolidation of the last eight months actually doesn't look that bad when you zoom out and you take the whole picture, right? So let's look at Litecoin on the weekly as well. So one thing you're going to notice with Litecoin is Litecoin, and you don't mind these percentage areas, I'm going to get to that in a second, but this is Litecoin on the weekly as well from back in 2013 to now. And you see Litecoin also has moved quite incredibly up. However, there's a lot more definition to certain moves. It's not as smooth as Bitcoin. And that's simply because altcoins have way more volatility in this uptrend up, right? This long-term uptrend. So Litecoin falls into that pattern. But Litecoin extremely strong in terms of its gains over the years. Also, Litecoin extremely strong in terms of how long it's been around. So that's Bitcoin on the weekly right there. And then here's Litecoin on the weekly. A little bit different of a picture, a little bit more volatile, and that's something to keep in mind if you're invested in Litecoin. So we can go over to Bitcoin on the weekly, and then we're going to look at daily on Litecoin. And real quick on Bitcoin on the weekly, I just wanted to point out something. Many of you might use the MACD, some of you don't. I use it from time to time, especially when trying to evaluate, longer term dips. But if you look at the MACD on the weekly right now, you can see us well below zero on the histogram. First of all, it looks like Bitcoin most recently in the beginning of July was trying to get a final uptrend in, and maybe confirm a bottom. However, we hit a wall, and you can see it right there on the screen. But something I want to point out to you on this histogram is this, or not on this histogram, on this MACD is look how low we are on the MACD right now on the weekly, compared to where we've been all the way back to 2013, right? So right now, this tells me one thing. This tells me in comparison to where the market is and where the market is headed in terms of technology and how low the market cap is right now, this tells me right now is not a bad accumulation area for Bitcoin or Litecoin. That's just me personally. So going over to Litecoin on the daily, what I want to point out is on the shorter time frame, you may be wondering, because you obviously watch this closely, is, well, when should I buy, right? If I'm going to accumulate Litecoin, and you saw Sarah at the beginning of this video talking about $50 price points and buying, and that is true. Anything under $60, and I did a video on this a while ago, is an insanely good accumulation zone for me personally, and that's one reason why Sarah said $50 is a great time to buy, and this is not financial advice. But I want to say, even at a $50 price point, even at a $61 price point, there could be more downside. So that price point is really comfortable for me personally, even if we were to go to $20, right? Because there's chatter about $20, and I'm not saying I think that will happen. I'm saying what if, right? There's always what if. There's layers of what if. What if we see a $50 Litecoin? What if we see a $20 Litecoin? What if cryptocurrency is completely, abolished, right? And there's no such thing as cryptocurrency, and the whole thing fails. There's layers to risk. So my risk tolerance of really heavy accumulation is under $60. And then obviously even right now at $61 is a nice area in my opinion. So in terms of, well, should you wait or should you not, that depends on your risk tolerance. That completely depends on how much you're willing to lose. If the market sees, 50% more losses, are you cool with that if you buy right now? Nobody can answer that question for you. And nobody can tell you which direction the market will go next. But we do have indicators that are saying, we're getting close to a bottoming out, right? At least we perhaps have gone through the worst part, which is this last 8 months. And on the daily on Litecoin, we can look at that and take our price range from all-time high to where we are now, 85% gains. I mean, that's pretty harsh, right? We've gone through a lot over the last 8 months, and we've learned a lot as well. We've picked up some wisdom, but going over to weekly, remember these areas that I highlighted from price range perspective. I'm going to open it up on the weekly. Something I wanted to point out is this very nice sign of consolidation in Litecoin, which is to say these bounces really give us an idea of the consolidation from a technical perspective and from a numbers perspective. So we can take our paintbrush, right? So what I did here is I took this wick down, and I'm having all these notifications going on. We have this wick down on this weekly, right? And on the second week, down to, around $100 almost. But we have this bounce, really strong bounce, 136% bounce, right? And then we kind of consolidate more. Then we have another bounce, 68%, just about, half of the most previous bounce. And then we have this bounce that we have here most recently, back in June to July, 30% bounce. And now we're back down again. And so these bounces, you can see, keep getting smaller. That is the perfect sign of consolidation. And consolidation is a nice sign of leveling out in the market, and we can tie it all back around to where we started, which was this continued uptrend, right? These crazy moves, and then these pullbacks. So these crazy moves, consolidation, crazy moves, consolidation. So right now we have a really healthy, good sign of consolidation, very expected in the markets, even from all-time highs. This wasn't going to last forever. This wasn't going to just keep going up to the moon. We weren't going to hit $100,000 Bitcoin in 2018. It was not going to happen. So that's kind of where we are right now. So in terms of should you pick up some Litecoin, that is completely up to you. Find your risk tolerance in this market. paint both pictures. If you accumulate now at $61, right? And here's the daily chart. If you accumulate at $61 and we actually do find a bottom and we start going back up in this uptrend, are you going to be happy with the amount that you accumulated? Likewise, and on the flip side, if you accumulate at $61 and we continue going lower and we're actually seeing a $20, $25 Litecoin soon, are you comfortable with holding and maybe even averaging down? That's completely up to you. But that's my approach to the market. That's why back here in June, right, like right around here at, I say, a $97 Litecoin or so, we were talking about a $50 Litecoin. And we were anticipating that because these levels down here are a nice buy zone for me personally, nice accumulation zone. So let me know your thoughts below. How are you making out? What is your approach in the market? Are you buying now or are you waiting? I know many of you are waiting. I truly appreciate you coming by today. I appreciate you watching. I hope you have a great Friday. I will see you in the next video, and God bless.